Please introduce yourself and tell us your name, where you grew up, and how old you were when you attended the March on Washington.
My name is Deborah Elaine Terry, and I live in 43 High Court, Manhasset, New York. And I was 12 and a half years old when I attended the first March to Washington on August 28, 1963. I was born and raised on the North Shore of Long Island, Manhasset, Port Washington, and Great Neck. Then moved to the South Shore, Rockville Center. From there, my parents decided to integrate Lynbrook School District, and we moved to Lynbrook, where I graduated high school in 1969, the only black in my senior class. So my father was an activist. To be honest, the last rally that was held before the March to Washington was held in Rockville Center in my backyard. We lived 2 blocks from Floyd Patterson, who fought Sonny Liston at that time, that year. And the organizers had to come to Lakeview. And Martin Luther King came there as well. This was before, he came there before that March to Washington. And Dr. Hazel N. Dukes, who was the state president of New York State, who was my younger son's godmother, and she was the trustee at our church, was one of the organizers at that time. Well, she had just started out in the NAACP. My dad asked her to be a membership chair. She worked her way up to New York State president.
Did you fully understand why you were going to the March on Washington in 1963?
Oh yes, because our parents had us out there protesting and marching and all that. As a young child, I always knew, why we were doing it. Only thing, I did have some horrific incidents happen to me during the protesting. I remember I got bit by a dog. I've been kind of scared of dogs ever since. They sick German shepherds on us when we were marching through, where were we that year? I think we were in Westbury, Long Island at the time, because we used to go to different towns, and they sick these German shepherd dogs on us. And also when we got ready to, they took us out of the Malvern School District to move us to Lynbrook, all of us. They didn't want us to go, so they had us on buses, and they turned the buses over when we were on the bus. They took water hoses and sprayed us with water hoses. Those instances, I'll never forget those. So yes, I knew why I was going, but going back to Malvern, they took us out of those schools and formed something called freedom schools for the black kids, where the parents or teachers would teach us at home. Like, I guess it was homeschool back then. You called equivalent to homeschool, to try to get us enrolled in the Lynbrook School District. My brother and I went to Davidson Avenue School, which elementary school. From there, Lynbrook North Junior High School, then on to Lynbrook High School.
So looking back now, what did that experience mean to you?
Well, it meant to me that I felt like I felt when I got older that it was going to mean that we were going to have a better way of life in Long Island anyway, because I knew what I went through. But once I moved out of the predominantly black school district to Lynbrook, I really understood what it meant, because my brother and I were the only 2 in the whole school. That was hard. Even though the principal said, well, if you have a problem, I will come with such and such and such. But I did have problems in school. Not physical. I never really had a fight there or anything, but I knew that I was not supposed to, I didn't feel like I was supposed to be there, as a teenager. But then I did gain some white friends. There was some, I guess they were Jewish, but I had a few. And actually now some of them have reached out to me on Facebook. So a lot of my white friends, not a lot, But a few of them that I was friends with, they have reached out to me on Facebook.
What sights, sounds, or emotions have stayed with you all these years as a result of those experiences that you've had?
I was just talking to someone that lives around here. He's a white guy. He has the beverage place here on Northern Boulevard. And I was saying to him that it's from what I went through as a child and the racial tension that was back in the 60s, I never would have thought that I would have to see that again. I didn't think that after doing all of that, protesting and marching and all those things, that I would have to worry about my grandchildren or even my great-grandchildren that I probably won't get to see because they're all living in the South. All my great-grands live in the South. But I never thought that I would have to worry about my grandsons. I have 7 grandsons, 10 granddaughters and 7 grandsons. I never thought I would have to worry about my grandsons, going to work, coming home from work, going to school, things like that. But I do. I find myself waking up in the middle of the night crying or just praying because worried about, even though they're good kids, they've never been in trouble, they go to school, they go to college, but I'm just, sometimes I'm get stressed, I do, and anxious because I'm worried how the tension of this country is now and seeing all these young black children, with girls, and not just boys either, young girls and boys, how they're getting mistreated and killed for no reason.
Do you remember hearing Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s speech?
Oh yeah, yes. And I even had the opportunity, as I said, my youngest son who lives in Maryland, he took, the first time I went down about 6 years ago, I go on Amtrak when I go down because it's only an hour-and-a-half ride, which is wonderful. The first time I went down there, I took 2 of my grandchildren, my daughter's 2 children, with me. They said they were my chaperone. And we went down to D.C. We went to the Lincoln Memorial. And I explained to them, I said, now you look out at the reflecting pool. I said, Grandma was standing somewhere out there over 60 years ago. The next time I went down, I took another so I had the 3 of them, 2 girls and 1 boy, grandchildren. And then from there, then he took us back to the Lincoln Memorial. We went to the Martin Luther King, because it wasn't there when I went the first time, the Martin Luther King statue. So we did his little tour. Then we went to the museum. Oh my goodness. That is, I would love to go back there. I'd love to go back, because we took 2 days. You have to take 2 days to see it. And they learned so much about their history, because let's see. Xavier was 14 then, he's 8, he just graduated high school. They're not taught any of that history in school. My dad taught me a lot of my black history at home. Because my father graduated from HBCU. He graduated in 1944 at Benedict College in Greenville, South Carolina. So my parents has always been about education. You gotta go to school. Go to school, you going to work, go to school. And you gonna do both, maybe. But you gonna do that, yeah.
Was there a particular time when you realized that you were witnessing history being made?
Yes. Martin Luther King, Roy Wilkins, even Malcolm X. I mean, I remember being so proud. I was proud to be black. So proud to the point when I went to Lynbrook, because I was a cheerleader. All right. I went and taught them all the cheers of Lynbrook, the black cheers. I taught them the cheers. I was on volleyball. Like I said, I was the only black in the senior. I was on girls varsity volleyball. I was on girls varsity basketball. I made sure they knew I went through Lynbrook. I was in the play when I was in junior high school. I played Cinderella, a black Cinderella in a white school. Yeah, so I made sure they knew I went through there.
So you have a musical background. What were the songs that you remember from that day?
My sisters and I used to sing, it's a song, well, I've never heard, I don't know where we found this song because I haven't heard it since, called Slavery Chain Done Broke at Last. And the Terry sisters, it was me and my two sisters, we would have really been the Clark sisters on the East Coast if my sister would have gone on and signed with Columbia Records like they asked her to do. But the one that just passed away, she refused to do it. My dad told her to go ahead. She didn't want to sign. But anyway, we sang, there used to be a show years ago called Civic Amateur Hour. A lot of people don't know about. It's on CBS. And you had to write in on a postcard who you wanted to vote for. It was like a star search back then, or you had to write in who you wanted to vote for, mail a card in. So that next week, we found out who won. It was like a talent show. And from there, we won Civic Amateur Hour. From there, we went to the Apollo. But we went to the Apollo before it was televised. This was in 1966. It would have been Showtime at the Apollo after that. That's when it was televised. We won the Apollo. That's when they had to hand clap you and you sit down. But it wasn't televised then. And from there is when my sister was offered the contract to sing for Columbia Records. The same time, Aretha Franklin and the Staple Singers. She sang at Carnegie Hall when she was 16. And like I said, my sister and I, my older sister and I would have, we would have probably been like the Clark sisters on the East Coast. Because my older sister and I were only two to play. My sister that passed away, she started taking piano lessons, but she stopped. I started when I was 4 years old, right up there on that hill in that house. I never learned how to play cards. I never learned how to play nothing like that. I don't even know what a card looked like. I had to take piano lessons. That was it. I was groomed for that.
Do you recall the lyrics of that song that you referred to?
Yeah. Slavery chain done broke at last, broke at last, broke at last. Slavery's chain done broke at last. Gonna praise God till I die. Slavery chain done broke at last, broke at last, broke at last. Slavery's chain done broke at last. We're gonna praise God till I die.
Beautiful. Would you like to say anything about voting rights or anything to encourage people to vote,
yes,
or a young person to join this upcoming march on Washington?
Yes. I was blessed to stand for freedom on today, and I'll encourage you to go out and stand for freedom now. Join the March to Washington on August 28th and continue the work for protecting our civil rights and the right to vote that our ancestors marched for that privilege. And for sacrificing and showing up. So please go out and join the March to Washington on August 28th, 2026.